My friends, I come before you today carrying a message that has been burning in my spirit, a revelation so powerful, so transformative, that it has awakened me night after night until I could no longer contain it. This is not just another encouraging word. This is a prophetic declaration of a divine moment that stands before us now, a supernatural restoration that defies human understanding and transcends natural limitations. The Almighty is about to restore your wasted years. Let those words sink deep into your spirit. The seasons of delay, the periods of setback, the chapters of life that seem stolen or squandered, they are about to be supernaturally redeemed in a demonstration of divine power that will leave even the skeptics speechless. Throughout history, there have been appointed times when heaven intervenes in human experience with unusual demonstration, moments when divine purposes accelerate beyond natural progression, seasons when spiritual principles manifest with such clarity that what normally requires decades suddenly happens in days. We stand at the threshold of such a moment. The restoration I speak of is not a theological concept or religious platitude. It is a tangible reality unfolding even now for those positioned to receive it. This restoration operates according to a spiritual principle woven into the fabric of creation itself, that what the enemy means for destruction, the Creator transforms into unprecedented blessing. Think about your own journey for a moment. Many of you carry deep regrets, decisions you would unmake if you could, opportunities you missed, potential that seems forever lost. Some of you have surrendered to the bitter conclusion that certain chapters of your life were simply wasted, time that can never be recovered, purpose that can never be fulfilled, dreams that must remain forever deferred. Today, that narrative ends. The restoration of wasted years manifests in three distinct dimensions, and I see all three being activated simultaneously in this season. First, there is chronological restoration, the supernatural compression of time that brings rapid advancement to compensate for seasons of delay. What should have developed over decades suddenly materializes in months. Opportunities that would normally require gradual progression appear with immediate access. Relationships that typically demand years to cultivate form with remarkable speed. This chronological restoration defies natural limitations. It operates according to spiritual physics rather than natural constraints. Just as light particles can be entangled across vast distances in quantum physics, violating our understanding of time and space, so the Creator can entangle your future blessing with your present moment, bringing tomorrow's provision into today's experience. Second, there is purpose restoration, the divine repurposing of painful experiences into powerful qualifications. What appeared as detours and delays are suddenly revealed as essential preparation. The very chapters you most regret become your most valuable credentials. The unique wisdom forged in your specific suffering becomes precisely what others desperately need. Nothing, absolutely nothing, is wasted in the divine economy. The painful detour becomes the platform. The delay becomes the distinguishing feature of your calling. The unique combination of your triumphs and failures creates a voice that cannot be duplicated and an authority that cannot be manufactured. Third, there is abundance restoration, supernatural multiplication that transforms scarcity into overflow. This is not merely receiving back what was lost, but experiencing increase that defies mathematical explanation. The principle of divine restoration has always involved multiplication. Harvests that yield 30, 60, or 100 times what was sown. This abundance comes not for self-indulgence, but for extraordinary impact. When divine purpose and divine provision align, resources flow with unprecedented velocity and volume. What you could not accomplish in decades of striving unfolds with remarkable ease when heaven's restoration touches heaven's assignment. For some hearing this message, the very concept of restoration seems impossible. Your circumstances appear beyond recovery. Your mistakes seem too consequential, your losses too extensive, your delays too prolonged. But I declare to you today that impossibility is the very staging ground for divine intervention. What qualifies you for supernatural restoration is not worthiness, but positioning. The humble recognition of your need, coupled with audacious faith in unlimited divine capacity. Throughout history, the pattern remains consistent. Divine restoration arrives not according to human merit, but according to divine timing and human receptivity. And my friends, we have entered a season of accelerated restoration unlike anything previously experienced. The convergence of ancient prophecies, celestial signs, and global conditions has created a unique spiritual environment where what was previously delayed suddenly finds expression. Let me speak now to specific groups who are positioned for immediate restoration. To the dreamers whose visions were deferred, those who glimpsed purpose decades ago but encountered obstacles that seemed insurmountable, your time has come. The dream was not denied, merely delayed until this precise moment when its fulfillment can create maximum impact. What you saw in seed form will manifest with a maturity and scope beyond your original vision. To the wounded who carry deep disappointment, those who experience betrayal, rejection, or devastating loss, your healing arrives with a purpose larger than your comfort. The unique wisdom forged in your specific pain becomes essential medicine for others walking similar paths. Your restoration transforms you from victim to guide, from casualty to carrier of profound compassion that cannot be counterfeited. To the faithful who served in obscurity, those who maintained integrity when compromise seemed more practical, who continued believing when doubt offered a more comfortable alternative, your vindication comes with supernatural authentication. The divine spotlight now finds you not to inflate ego, but to establish undeniable spiritual authority for the assignment ahead. To the prodigals who chose wrong paths, those haunted by the consequences of destructive decisions, your restoration demonstrates grace that transcends human understanding. The very chapters you most wish to erase become powerful platforms for hope when touched by divine redemption. Your greatest regrets become your most compelling qualifications for unique assignment. To the pioneers who paid costly prices, those who ventured into uncharted territory and absorbed opposition meant for those who would follow, your compensation arrives with supernatural interest. The seeds of innovation you planted in thankless soil suddenly produce harvests that vindicate your courage and confirm your spiritual foresight. How do we position ourselves for this supernatural restoration? 3 specific alignments are required. First, we must align with humility, the honest acknowledgement that our greatest efforts at self-restoration have proven inadequate. Humility creates spiritual capacity to receive what pride will always repel. The humble recognition of your need for divine intervention becomes the very gateway through which that intervention arrives. Second, we must align with expectancy, the confident anticipation that what has been promised finds immediate expression. Expectancy is faith directed toward manifestation rather than concept. It transforms theological ideas into experiential reality. It insists that divine promises exist not merely for future fulfillment, but for present implementation. Third, we must align with assignment, the clear recognition that restoration comes not primarily for personal validation, but for kingdom advancement. When personal healing and divine purpose align, restoration flows with remarkable velocity. Your breakthrough arrives not merely as personal blessing, but as strategic commissioning. My friends, I do not speak these words lightly or theoretically. I have witnessed this divine restoration transform countless lives from devastating loss to destiny fulfillment. I have seen decades of addiction broken in moments of divine encounter. I have watched careers seemingly destroyed by circumstance suddenly resurrect with unprecedented opportunity. I have observed relationships fractured beyond human repair experience reconciliation that defies psychological explanation. The restoration of wasted years operates according to spiritual principles higher than natural laws. Just as gravity can be temporarily suspended by stronger forces like thrust or lift, so the natural consequences of wasted time can be overridden by the supernatural intervention of divine restoration. Be alert. The implementation of this restoration requires your participation. When divine provision arrives, human stewardship must engage. When supernatural doors open, human initiative must walk through. When divine connections manifest, human relationship must develop. Heaven's restoration meets earthly responsibility to create unstoppable momentum. Some of you have resigned yourselves to operating at partial capacity, convinced that certain opportunities have passed forever, that specific gifts can never find expression, that particular dreams must remain unfulfilled. Today, That limited narrative shatters against a higher reality, that nothing is ultimately wasted for those aligned with divine purpose. No experience, no matter how painful or prolonged, exists outside the redemptive capacity of the Creator. The restoration has begun. It accelerates even now. The divine countdown to your personal restoration has reached 0. The question is not whether restoration is available, but whether you are positioned to receive it. Then, whether you will recognize it when it appears, whether you will participate when it activates, whether you will steward it when it manifests. Let every voice that has whispered too late be silenced by the thunderous declaration of heaven. Restoration has arrived. Let every internal narrative of regret and limitation be overwritten by the powerful truth that divine intervention supersedes human failure. Let every external circumstance that argues against possibility crash against the immovable reality of divine promise. Your wasted years are being restored, not partially but completely, not eventually but imminently, not theoretically but tangibly. Position yourself in humble expectancy. Align yourself with divine purpose. Open yourself to supernatural acceleration. The restoration has begun.